Welcome to the TF Motorsports official podcast. I'm Thomas Frasco as we finally have the lineups for the 2025 Monster Jam season. And because of that, we will be talking about it right here on the podcast. Joining me here today is once again Douglas from the social media Monster Jam Loser, Texas. Welcome back to the podcast.
Hello, thanks for having me.
All right, man. So we are going to be first talking about the lineups, and then we'll be talking about the locations. So we'll start off with Arena Series West. So with this one, we have Weston Anderson in Gravedigger, Ashley Sanford in Megalodon, Cody Saucier in Dragon, Brianna Mahan in Scooby Doo. I thought she'd be driving a different truck, but I guess she's back in Scooby Doo. Anyway, Berto Trevino in Monster Rottweiler, Joe Uri in Earthshaker, Devin Winfield in Velociraptor, and Tim Hall Jr. in Jurassic Attack. So now I want to hear your thoughts about this lineup.
Which one are we talking about again? There's so many.
It's Arena Championship Series West. It has Weston Anderson on it.
Oh yeah, that one. I I think it's a pretty basic lineup, pretty all right. And it's good to see that Team Throttle is like on the Arena Series West. Because if you didn't know, Jurassic Attack and Velociraptor are my favorite trucks. Kind of sad that David Alford isn't returning, but Tim Hall Jr. and Devin Winfield, I think they got potential to make it big.
Current My current thoughts about the tour. Uh, I think the two heaviest hitters in the tour is Weston Anderson and Cody Saucier. Uh,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, those two drivers definitely have been pretty consistent the last few years.
And
But
they've been dominant.
yeah, I believe Weston is undefeated in the championship series. Like he's got 2022, 2023, and now 2024. So yeah,
Yeah,
he's won each one that he's been a part of, which I'm still surprised they put him in arenas.
yeah. Like I think he should be in stadiums due to his dominance in the arena series. I think maybe give him a few more years and maybe put him in stadiums, but for now, he's probably gonna dominate again like the last 2 years.
Yeah, what I would have done was put him on the tour with Tyler Menega since Adam and Ryan are on the West tour, which we'll get to, as well as Tristan England and Caleb Blood. Like that tour is just loaded. Um, I'd have Weston with Tyler, and I'd put Weston either in Gravedigger the Legend or have Bog Hog be made into a Monster Jam truck and have him drive that.
Yeah, have him drive Bog Hog. I
I
would be
mean,
interested to see.
yeah, because they're making the diecast, and I have the limited edition Bog Hog diecast, so
I
it
have that
wouldn't
too.
be far from what they're doing with Spin Master.
It really wouldn't. Yeah, like you said, you have the diecast as well. I would love to see it make a debut in real life someday as a monster truck.
All right, so now as we take a look at the schedule for the West Tour, so it begins off at Salt Lake City, Utah, and then it ends off at Cincinnati, Ohio. Now, of course, one of the major locations on there, of course, is Tacoma, which is one of the biggest arena shows of the year, and this tour gets to have it. Now, do you think there's going to be a new track this year, or do you think it's going to be pretty much the same track that they've been doing since like 2016 or 17?
2015, and yeah, I do think they're keeping the
15?
arena pod.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
So we're pretty much creeping up on 10 years now, and it's the same track.
I don't mind though. Kind of, it would be kind of cursed to like see like a new track. That would just boggle my mind. So
Mm.
I think they should keep the arena pod
Yeah,
for
the arena
Tacoma.
pod. Obviously, the arena pod is like the staple of the tour, so keep that. But I'm saying is like that berm looking thing. They should change that up.
Yeah, kind of odd
Like,
looking.
yeah, like maybe do
It's like
like
a
a
giant star.
tabletop or like a jammer. Like something to make it more standing out. If it's literally going to be 10 years since that started.
Yeah, my idea for
Oh,
that is maybe add like a mini flip or like an eight pack, something
yeah,
like that. Just change it up a little bit.
yeah. I think that also kind of goes with the arena shows. Um, like obviously have it like the arena pod, like how it's supposed to be, but they should
Mhm.
like try to change it up a teeny bit, like steepen up some of the spots, or I don't know, like something to have it fresh, since that started in 2015 too. 2015 or 14? I think 2015, right?
I think 2015. Yeah,
Yeah. So that's pretty much almost 10 years of the
almost.
same arena pod for dirt tracks. That's freaking insane.
Yeah. May I don't know what did they add? Maybe like you said, steeper ramps. I think that could work. Maybe in like smaller like arenas where like sky wheelies are a much bigger like importance to the show considering of how small they are. I think those
Yeah.
could work.
Yeah, something to make it different. And I think that would help.
It would definitely.
Yeah.
But again, they're just small changes to make them a bit better.
Yeah, even if it's small changes, I'm fine with. Something is
Yeah,
better
definitely.
than nothing.
I agree with that.
All right, now we have the Arena Championship Series East we're going to go over. We have Kristen Anderson in Gravedigger, Tony Oaks and Thunder Roris, MJ Solario and El Toro Loco. He's done well. The Telechkos are back with Michaela driving Megalodon and Brandon driving Just Get It Done 2. A to be announced driver in Monster Mutt Dalmatian, Mark Hall in Raminator, and Kurt Kramer in Ramunition. What's your thoughts on this lineup?
Really interested to see well, first of all, what stands out to me is like the to be announced driver. I'm kind of hoping it's a rookie or maybe like a returning driver that hasn't like a return in years, like maybe Chad Tingler can come back instead of driving Stone Crusher. Or maybe it's just a new rookie altogether. Either way,
Um,
I want to see who it is.
I wonder, maybe it's the new driver right now in Monster Mutt Dalmatian. I think she's driving. I forgot her name. But I think she might be driving. Again, I haven't been told anything, but I got a feeling that that would be her in the spot. But they're
This
just
is news to
finalizing
me.
everything, I believe.
This is news to me. I never heard of like a new driver. I don't even know who you're talking about.
I know. I'm trying to remember
Yeah.
the name. It was from sorry for if I don't remember. It's like from the recent live streams. She was just starting to compete.
Um, I don't
Uh
remember her name.
Yeah. We'll look at we'll look into that a little bit better. And especially when we have the name listed, it'll instantly click and I'll be like, oh, that was her name. And when I
Yeah.
do the weekly episodes where we go over the Monster Jam results next year,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll have the name properly put in. Again, I'm sorry that I couldn't remember the name, but yeah, I should have did more notes.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm gonna
Now
feel dumb.
I think this tour is probably going to be a Kristen Anderson versus Tony Oaks versus Brandon Telechka. I think those three drivers are going to be the powerhouses of the series. Those are my picks.
My picks are also like Brandon Teleshka, Kristen, not Tony, but also uh Solarino. I forgot his name for a second.
MJ.
Yeah, MJ. Those three are definitely my picks. They're good drivers. MJ has definitely like improved the past year that he's been running El Toro Loco. Tolushka, I feel though he has more of a chance to compete with Christian. Actually, no offense to MJ, but those two, I feel like they can have a rivalry similar to like Don Zimmer Jr. and what's his name, Brandon Vincent, I believe.
Now, taking a look at their schedule, they begin in Greenville, South Carolina, and then they continue on. The only east stuff I see is a couple stops in Pennsylvania, and then the ending is yeah, South Carolina, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and then at the end we go to Pensacola, Florida. So I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to think because I know that some of these tours are a little bit off, but I think these stadium tours are a little bit more messed up. But
Yeah,
yeah, because I think the Central Tour has quite a few east stops.
yeah,
All right, so now we're going to be talking about the Central Arena Series. Speaking of that, we have a very interesting lineup. And if I go to Newark, I'll be seeing this lineup again. I'm not like confirming I'll be in Newark again. I'm debating on when I should or if I should. But this lineup, though, is stacked. We have Matt Cody in Gravedigger. He finally gets the United States championship opportunity in Gravedigger after briefly doing it last year, filling in for Brandon Vincent. Fernando Martinez and El Toro Loco, he's back. We have a big shakeup. Jamie Sullivan. Now, the reason why Monster Mutt Dalmatian currently has a to be announced driver is because Jamie Sullivan switches fire suits, goes from Monster Mutt Dalmatian to a second Sparkle Smash truck. So she'll be driving
yeah.
that truck while Caleb Blood drives on Stadium West with her Sparkle Smash truck. Then we have Angelina Knock in Megalodon. We have Senate Motorsports with John Zimmer Sr. He's saving up a little money. He's going to be driving Zombie on his Uproar chassis, saving up on body parts. And then John Zimmer Jr., he's back and he's going to be driving Terminal Velocity. And after their great success in Newark, the Robins are back with Triton in Crazy Train and Montana in Plain Crazy. What a stacked lineup. And I got to be honest, I don't know if I have somebody to pick to win because this whole field, top to bottom, it could go either way.
It really could. I don't even know where to begin with this lineup. Like out of like the three arena tours, I feel like Central might be the best. Like it's already crazy enough that like Crazy Train and like Playing Crazy are returning, but then at Motorsports, like Terminal Velocity and you know John Zimmer is returning. Like I feel like they might, and I feel like they might like uh go past like Matt Cody. I don't think he'll win this. I feel like Zimmer Jr. might definitely take the win on this one.
Ooh, just imagine John Zimmer Jr. in the main field of World Finals.
I
That's a
hope.
cool thought.
I hope you
Oh,
deserve to win that skills, and I'll never shut up about that.
yeah, you know what? John Zimmer Jr., I'm picking him for the series win.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm picking him for the series win. I want him to go to World Finals in Salt Lake.
I hope. Out of all the drivers that could win this thing, it could be Zimmer Jr. Like, there's no competition here to me.
And let's talk about Jamie Sullivan. So yeah, with her being in a second Sparkle Smash truck, what is your thoughts on that?
First of all, going back to May, I actually thought like she was gonna drive Sparkle Smash and Kayla was still gonna run Soldier Fortune. But no, Kayla ended up driving like the main Sparkle Smash. And I would say I kind of predicted Jamie was gonna drive Sparkle Smash, but not really. So yeah, that's pretty interesting that she's gonna drive Sparkle Smash, Jamie Sullivan. But what do you think?
I think it's a new strategy. Well, I do like the fit. You got two different trucks, kind of similar to Thunder Roars, but I think this might be because of Bakugan Dragonoid believing to be retired. Again, we're gonna get to that and Mohawk Warrior, which is two big things we'll talk about when we get to both stadium tours. But I think that might be the reason. But I do think it's a good fit, and obviously now we have another driver who will be in Monster Truck Dalmatian,
Yeah,
and like I think she might struggle at first because again it's a completely different body, but after a couple runs, I think she'll get it down.
yeah, definitely. Like that unicorn body, I heard it's harder to like see through.
Yeah, I think it's something to deal with. Maybe I guess it's the nose or maybe like the front.
I
I
think
don't
it
know.
was.
But then last thing we want to talk about the central lineup is Triton Robbins and Montana Robbins. Um, those two are finally on a full time arena series, and I believe for Crazy Train, that name for the first time will be in a full series since like 2016, I believe, or 2017.
Yeah,
What is
2016
your
and
thoughts
17.
on that team being back full time in Monster Jam and Newark this year was not a fluke?
I I would have never expected like them to come back because like most independents they mostly run just one show during quarter two and that's it. An example is Tailgater with Tim Jones. I thought it was just a one and done and that's it, but no. And they did pretty good in like the arena. What was the show again? I don't remember.
Oh, it was at Newark. I was there, and the
Oh,
show that
Newark.
I was at, the second show, Triton, he
Yeah, how
got
was
the
that?
racing win and he got the skills win, so he was on a roll that night.
Yeah, you can probably tell me all about that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun being there for like the second time of the year, but yeah, it was crazy
Yeah,
seeing Crazy Train back in Monster Jam, and coincidentally in Newark in person. And I thought he was going to do okay, but he burned the place down. He did a phenomenal job, and I think also Montana in playing crazy, he did great too. So,
y-
and now that
yeah,
they're going to be competing in a full Monster Jam season, they're going to get a lot more experience and just really elevate their level. And they're still young; they got a lot of years ahead.
they do. This might be the year to me where like independents like can kind of take over and win over Feld trucks because we have Zimmer Jr. and we have like the Robins. They do have potential to win the Arena Series championships.
Yeah, it's possible because it's mostly just been Gravedigger wins pretty much in the series for a
Yeah,
while now. So it's gonna be crazy.
the fact that they are competing with like Gravedigger possibly for like the title of Arena Series, that just speaks volumes to me.
And yep, and then we go to the Central Arena series. So it'll begin off at Nashville at Bridgestone Arena, and of course we got Newark January 24th through the 26th. They're gonna go to the Barclays Center for the first time, where Hot Wheels usually is. They're gonna continue on, and then they go to Lexington to end it off. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting to see some of these arenas. And the one thing that makes me really excited about this season is the live streams. Now that we have that, we're pretty much it's pretty much like the equivalent of like NASCAR or the NFL. You're
Yeah.
invested and you're watching weekly.
Yeah, and best of all, anyone can like check it out for free.
Yeah,
Like
without a
it's
doubt.
literally on YouTube. It's easily accessible. Honestly, the I have like never said this until now, but now I have an excuse to say it. Live streams are the best decision Feld has ever made with Monster Jam, period.
I could agree to that because they're making more fans that way. So
Definitely.
yeah, and now you can do like big watch parties, get popcorn, bring your friends over. It's like again, it's like the NFL or
Yeah, that's the best
NASCAR or
part.
WWE, you get to just watch with your friends in a group. It's cool.
Definitely. And the fact it's easily accessible and free, that just makes it even better to me. I'm surprised that you don't pay a subscription for that.
All right. And finally, we're going to be talking about the two stadium tours that we'll be seeing mostly. These two stadium tours have a good variety of drivers. We're going to start off with Stadium Championship Series East, since that one's a little bit more easier. We got Tyler Menega in Gravedigger, who's been on a roll these last few years. And 2024 was pretty much the year of Tyler Menega. And we're going to see if 2025 repeats. We got Cynthia Gauthier back in Monster Jam with Lucas Stabilizer. Armando Castro finally gets that stadium opportunity after doing well during the offseason, so he's in El Toro Loco. Barmer Sowers in Zombie. Colt Stevens is in Thunder Roars. Canada Murphy, we'll get back to him. Kevin Crocker, who will be replacing Corey Rummel, he's in Megalodon. Jim Kohler, Mr. Excitement, he's back in Avenger. Chris Kohler is in Monster Mutt. Joe Foley is in Axe this year. Mike Christensen is in Vendetta. And Dalton Widener, after doing a really great Arena Series event and also doing well at the World Finals, he now gets his stadium opportunity in Jurassic Attack. So now, first off, let's talk about Canada Murphy. He
Yeah.
has a to be announced label and a regular Monster Jam Fire Series driver image. So could this be the end of Bakugan Dragonoid?
I would say yes, because like it's been 5 years since like the truck debuted. Maybe that has like a connection. Uh,
Yeah, maybe
like
like a
maybe it was a
contract.
5 year contract. Yeah, that it could be that. But what do you think of that? Before I continue.
So with the Bakugan Dragonoid again, I'm not too surprised about that. Um, one thing being is because again the property. I mean, I don't see it really trending that much, but even then, usually it's like a bigger part with the merchandise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think honestly, it's sort of not surprising that their thing kind of ended, or
I
seems
mean,
to be. But yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting to see what Camden's gonna be driving.
yeah, and about that, like I'm pretty mixed on like both of these. I'll say them, but I'm not really sure. It's either gonna be a Marvel truck or actually three, never mind. It's either gonna be Marvel trucks, a new truck altogether, or just a new Bakugan truck. Like there's multiple Bakugans, I don't pay attention to it, but I know there's multiple besides Dragonoid. Maybe it's that, maybe just something unrelated altogether, or it's a Marvel truck.
Yeah, it could be. But let's also talk about, of course, Tyler Menega. And I think, honest, Tyler, I think is a god because some of the stuff that he does, it's just like, is that like, you just like start laughing. You just think, is that real? Like
Yeah,
Minneapolis, for instance. Sends the truck. He does this weird like landing, and he bounces on one wheel, does like a 180 turn with it, and puts it into a nose wheelie. Like some
yeah,
of the
that's
craziest
definitely a
shit I've
Wizard
ever
Boss
seen.
moment. That looks
um,
like Beam and G.
it does, or that or Riggs, or now I guess maybe Showdown, but mostly Riggs or Beam. Um,
Definitely Beam.
oh
I don't
yeah.
know how he does that. Like
Like, and it's
he was
crazy.
a
He
god.
seemed calm while doing it. Like, it's crazy how calm you could be when you're setting that truck that high and then landing that way.
Yeah, he's a god. I could
Yeah.
never.
Uh,
Even in rigs, I don't drive like that. Like I don't know how he does it.
yeah. It's like when Tyler Menega when he's called up, that's pretty much the signal just to pull out your phone and get ready to record because you're about
Yeah,
to see some crazy shit.
yeah,
But the
that's the
coolest
moment
thing
to
I
watch.
noticed that Tyler does in his runs, he starts off just kind of like looking at the track, kind of prancing around, and then he stops, he revs the motor, and he does this cool thing where he just flips on the lights on the truck, and then he goes.
Yeah,
Honest to God, it looks really cool.
yeah, he's a god at this. I will. He's forever my pick to win the Stadium Series. I
Yeah,
I
I
might
believe
go as
this.
far
Yeah,
as to
this is
say
gonna
he's the
be
next
a Tyler
comments.
Reddick show.
He's
Sorry about
definitely the
that.
next comments.
Oh yeah, like I got a feeling he's gonna reach either close to the number of championships that Tom has, or just
I can
about
definitely see that.
reaching it, or heck, depending on how long this whole thing goes, he might overpass it.
I can definitely see that. Like looking at his performance last year
It-
or this year
yeah,
right now.
and keep in mind, Tom Meents when he was getting championships, the majority of the years that he did, it was 2 championships per year. Now Monster Jam has 4 a year. So
Yeah,
Tyler's got a shot to do it within like 5 or 6 years,
he definitely does.
which is
Tyler
crazy to think.
Tyler is just I keep saying it, I'll say it again, he's a god.
Yeah.
He's
Also,
good.
yeah, and when I saw the lineup, I said, "Damn, man, you didn't put Ryan in there. Who's gonna challenge him?" Because
Maybe
again,
Ryan's scared
I
of
know,
him.
like no disrespect to the drivers. Amando Castro, he's talented. Colt Stevens, he's done some pretty good runs. Dalton Weiner, Mike Kristen, Joe Foley, he does really well in freestyles. Kendall Murphy, he can lay it down. We saw Chris Kohler do some great runs, but freaking Tyler Menega, man, you really just
Tyler.
can't stop him at this point.
Yeah, maybe Ryan's not in there because he's scared he'll lose. Tyler's just unstoppable that way.
Oh man, yeah. Hopefully for 2026, the people that failed are listening to this, and they'll put Tyler with like Ryan or Weston or somebody. Just anybody that's close to his, close to
Yeah.
that level. Like there's okay driver, good driver, great driver, elite driver, and then there's the top level, and it says Tyler Menega.
Yeah.
We'll just yeah we'll keep going on and on and on about the compliments to Tyler Medica, but we don't have too much time. We're gonna go back to the Stadium Championship Series schedule, and thank God East Rutherford's on there, so I get to see Tyler Menega. Hell yeah. So the weirdest thing is about this schedule, there's a lot more West and Mid Coast stops than East stops. I don't yeah, because like it starts at San Diego. They have another one at San Diego, then Anaheim. So all that's in California. San Antonio's in Texas, and then they have an arena stop in Cleveland, Ohio. Then they have Detroit, Michigan. But then we go to Orlando, Florida, and Jackson, Florida in March, surprisingly. Then Indianapolis, and then after a arena stop, we go to Birmingham, Alabama, and then New Orleans, and then we get back with Foxborough, Philadelphia, and then wrapping up the points at East Rutherford, with Austin, Texas being a non-points event, but just for an arena show to fill up the schedule.
Yeah.
Like it's like not as many as the the shows that are in the West and Mid Coast. So I'm thinking
Yeah.
at this point they should just label it Tour 1 or Tour 2, or do something similar to like what NASCAR has with the Cup Series and Xfinity. Like have like a more like kind of like rank the series. Like the Arena Series, obviously upcoming drivers or drivers who are a little older or drivers who are looking to just make a name. Then you
Hmm.
have the One Stadium Tour, which is kind of a mixture of both. And then just have the one other stadium tour and just load that with like all crazy elite drivers, you know?
Yeah, with guys that can actually like put up a fight.
Yeah, kind of like kind of like the 2015 FS1 series, like have like that type of lineup where it's just where it's one big tour that everybody's like following and saying like this is the big leagues.
Yeah,
That's what I think Monster Jam should do. Kind of like go for that. Like have
they
like a
definitely do
ranking
need
for
that.
each series.
That could definitely keep more people engaged. Not to say like the lineups are bad. I'm saying that it could feel more like a sport.
Yeah, because not only that, it can get kind of confusing if you're looking at all these tours and you're like,
Yeah,
okay, so this one's got that one, this one's got this one, and you're kind of like looking back and forth, especially with when you're thinking about new people who like want to watch Monster Jam, like the casual viewer. They
yeah.
might get kind of like, dizzy looking at it, but if you were to like put it in categories, like the arena category, and then you have a like up and coming stadium series, and then the big stadium series, then they'll know what's what, and they'll know what to watch for certain
I'm
categories at least.
I'm just thinking of something like F1 where it's like F4, F3, F2, and so on, something like that.
Yeah, F15, F20, F5. Oh wait,
Too
that's
many
Brock Lesnar.
tours.
Never mind. F F67.
Too many
Just
tours to keep track of.
yeah, F1 should have had like different names for that, like rookies and then veterans and then like F1
Yeah.
itself. Otherwise, we'll just keep going and just be like F74. Yeah, it'll just be nonstop. If you remember that reference, okay, cool, you got the joke.
Definitely
All
something like
right,
that, but not
so
F15.
now we're moving on to the last tour, and that is the West Championship Series. We have Adam Anderson, brand new Gravedigger, Caleb Blood, the main Sparkle Smash driver, Tristan England in the JCB Dickatron, Ryan Anderson in Son of a Digger, Todd LeDuc is in Megalodon. God damn it, I wanted him to be in Blue Thunder or something.
I wanted him
Um, ugh, well, it's very, very overdue. He needs to be Thunder or some other truck because even he doesn't like the Megalodon stuff that he has to work with. Um, excuse me.
to.
Jamie Gardner is in El Toro Loco. Bryce Kenny to be announced. Again, we'll get to that. Zach Gardner, hell yeah, he's going to be in the West Stadium Series in Wildside. Much deserved after getting that amazing racing title. Cole
Definitely.
Bernard's in Black Pearl. Mike Pagliarulo is in Jester. Nixon Kraken. And Michael is in the Excalibur truck. Really great to see that name in a stadium series. So big story again, similar to Camden. It's Bryce. Like I'm surprised. He like even though that Great Clips still has their logos and everything, could this be it for Great Clips?
Uh, I think so. Like, I think they had the sponsorship since 2018. Because I remember 2017 had a completely different sponsor, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, they weren't there at all. I think you're thinking about America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses, which is a long freaking name.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one was also on board along with Great Clips, and then eventually, I think 2019 or 2020 they stopped. But
Yeah.
yeah, with Great Clips, I'm shocked.
Yeah, like they've been like Jackson Morris said, I'm stealing this from him. Sorry. But Great Clips has like been a part of the sport since like forever. That it's kind of hard to imagine like the sport without it now. That'd be like
Yeah,
BKT tires leaving or Hot Wheels leaving, which already happened. So like a big sponsor that's leaving possibly. I I don't know how to feel about that.
yeah. Then you have, of course, Bryce Kenny really owning that Mohawk Warrior and the Great Clip sponsorship. He was pretty much the face of it. Um, Now the question is, does Bryce Kenny still rock the Mohawk at a Spirit, keeping that Mohawk Nation kind of going even without a Mohawk Warrior truck, or Does he go for a new cut? Does he buzz it off or does he grow it? Just thinking
I
about that because he's been growing in that mohawk, and by this year, it's been really looking good. So,
yeah,
oh my
I
god,
can't imagine
I
him
don't know what
without
to
a
think.
mohawk. Seeing him without a mohawk just I don't know how to feel. It just boggles my mind, just like George Belhan.
Bryce, if
Okay.
you're listening to this, man, keep the mohawk. We, you're rocking
keep
that
it.
mohawk, and we want to see that mohawk.
Keep
Um,
rocking it, bro.
hell yeah. So I'm guessing the similar situation is kind of like with Camden. It could either
Yeah.
be Marvel Trucks or it could be a returning name or a completely new concept. Again, we'll have to wait within the coming days on Monster Jam social media.
Yeah. Assuming Mohawk is actually like retired, I hope it's a new truck. Like it's kind of like a tradition every year for Monster Jam to like debut a new truck. I feel like he might drive a new one. And Mohawk Warrior, I need to say, like, it's kind of like George Belhan's name, and the only reason why it's still around is because of the sponsorship. I feel like it should have been retired a long time ago, and since it's not retired, I don't know how to feel. My wish kind of came true, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Now we're gonna take a look at the schedule, or at least most of it. So it begins at Anaheim, and then they go immediately to a an arena series event. Then they go to the St. Louis Dome at America Center. Then they go to Miami, Florida, Tampa, Florida. What the hell? Before we continue, it's very weird that both stadium series both get their stops at Florida, and it's confusing to hell and back that we don't see anything for Houston or Glendale. But again, the with some shows that they have done during the summer, they announced at the live streamed event itself. So if they don't do that, or if nothing pops up, then I'm gonna be shocked. Um,
Yeah, it's
yeah, and
definitely a.
then
It's
okay,
definitely like really. It hurts me to like see Houston not on there because like it's been a part of the schedule and specifically one of the season openers for years now. And I really do want to see like Stadium Series West, but I kind of doubt that they'll have like another like stadiums announced. I hope they do. Prove me wrong. But
uh,
sad the only ones that I'm gonna see right now is San Antonio and like Austin, Texas, which is like
what about
Stadium
it?
Series East.
Well, after Anaheim, again, how many Anaheims do we need? Jesus, my at Minneapolis.
There's so
There's El
many.
Paso, Texas. Is that too far for you?
Yeah, it's a bit too far. I will go eventually, and that's a promise, but not this year. 8 hour
Mm.
drive is too long for me.
Oh God, 8 hours. Oh yeah,
8 hours.
because Texas, I forgot, it's a very large state. Oh
Yeah,
Jesus.
closest venue to me is San Antonio.
Oh
That's
my
like a
God.
10-minute drive.
Jeez. Um. Yeah. Then we go to Oakland for an arena show. Then Seattle. And then that tour gets the ultimate Atlanta Motor Speedway events, which is cool. And then their last
Yes,
stop,
bro.
pretty fitting, is the home of World Finals 23, SoFi Stadium. And yeah, then after a few months to go to World Finals 24's official stop at Salt Lake City. So kind of fitting. Um yeah, so I think we kind of talked about the Texas stuff. I forgot to mention Syracuse on Stadium East. Let's go back to Stadium East for a second. They don't have Syracuse. What do you think that's all about?
Yeah, missing stops like Glendale, Houston, Arlington, which I love, and also like Syracuse. What's up with that? Like, I hope they do announce like more locations because the schedule right now just feels very lacking.
Yeah. Do you think that they're gonna be waiting until around October when they do the Texas events and the Glendale event to announce them? Or do you think there's competition like with Hot Wheels or some other tour? Or do you think that they're just stopping altogether?
I hope that they don't stop altogether. I hope that's not the case. But I think they'll actually announce like more events over there. I hope so. I'll be there live, Houston and Arlington. So I better see that, otherwise I'm gonna be very pissed when I come out of that venue. Glendale and Houston on the schedule, period.
Yeah. But again, right now it's pretty much a waiting game, but we'll see. So
I
that's
hope.
pretty much it for the the 2025 Monster Jam season reveal. Again, they should have done a kickoff. I don't know why they just had to kind of slap it on social media, but
Yeah,
I guess instant gratification, or even then, it wasn't really. It took like over a day, so technically it's the longest kickoff we've had. But I'm hoping that next year they bring back that kickoff because I looked at 2017's full kickoff. One thing I noticed from that, there was a hell of a lot of tours on that one. It was like 7 or 8. I'm like, Jesus.
yeah.
Well, I guess
They
because
have
they had
so
like all
many.
sorts of people wanting to go in. But even then, it's crazy because usually those last from like January to March at the time. So, but another thing is it just had this like really important feel. Well, first of all, it had a specific date. It had a date, whether it was like September, October. They had it right there of when they were gonna do it, and you knew exactly when to tune in.
Yeah,
Um,
in September
yeah,
usually.
yeah,
It
and then
actually felt like a real sport. I don't know if that's the right word, but it felt like a legitimate sport just from a
yeah,
from a season kickoff.
yeah. Especially, it also really proved it with the track maps. When they showed the arena and the stadium track map, and then they had BJ Johnson going over the stadium track map. It felt like Supercross in a way, and that's what I
It
think
did.
is missing. They should really try to make it feel more sporty because again, they have their points series, and they're keeping track each week. And beginning next year, they're going to do that again. But I think they should really go for a different presentation. Like obviously, they have the stuff for the kids. They have enough of that, but when it comes to it being a sport and really getting a lot of people invested to watch week in and week out, especially with the YouTube stuff and all the TV partnerships, they should really lean into the presentation, the music, the
They should.
graphics. They should lean into all that, starting with the kickoff.
Yeah, because like the game show, I didn't even bother watching. I just waited for stuff to pop up on Instagram. Same with like the baby pictures. Like that stuff needs to stop. It's getting ridiculous. Like
Yeah,
they should go back to a more sporty feel, just like NASCAR. But then again, NASCAR has silly stuff too, so that makes two for two.
yeah. So I guess sort of like NASCAR. But like, I think Supercross is a better example to bring up because they have the track maps and they had a kickoff I believe last year and that was well done.
I think they
Or was
did.
that 2 years ago? Last year or 2 years ago? But yeah, that was
Um,
well done.
I think it was 2 years ago. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it was a year.
So
I think so.
I don't know. I'll have to look it up at some point. But yeah, yeah, they should definitely try to do it like that.
Yeah,
But
just
and obviously some people have said, but the stuff isn't fun. Like it's fun in a way. But here's a way you could fix it. So obviously they're doing the baby picture thing. Have it as like a teaser thing where it's like you have the kickoff already announced. It's like September, whatever. You have that date already listed like a couple weeks in advance. Then the day of, or a day before, or both days, you show off the baby pictures or like some game that may do some hints or whatever. it's fun and he gets people guessing. But however, now you know exactly when it's gonna be. So you're having fun. You got your fun side of it, but you also have the professional side of it. So you got like the mix. Like when I try to think of stuff, I don't like to think of, oh, Monster Jam, the old stuff was all better and we should just go immediately to that. I like to try to find something in between where the old fans could have some fun and the new fans could have some fun. You got the fun stuff, the professional stuff, mix them together. Try not to
Yeah,
go
like
full
diehards and
kiddie,
actual
you
children.
know? Yeah, like yeah, what
Something
I'm
like
trying to
that.
say overall is just find that in between and it'll work.
It it might work. I kind of disagree. I hope they go back to season kickoff where it's like a professional sporting event and maybe like sprinkle like a little bit of stuff there, but keep it mostly like kind of serious. But I do see why you would want to do what you mentioned, where it's like make it like a game show kind of, and like just keep it serious throughout.
Yeah, because like what I'm
I
trying to
seriously
say is
struggle
because
to
like
say that.
obviously because like a lot of people they scroll on social media and whatnot, so obviously like the baby picture thing was all right, if but like it wasn't good for it to be the main kickoff. So like having them separate with like the baby picture thing being a teaser, and then you have the kickoff itself where it's all professional and it shows all the lineups and stuff like that. So you're doing both and you're keeping them separate. So
Hmm.
that's what I think would have worked.
Good, but I'd rather just have them like do it legitimately,
Yeah.
not a bunch of silly stuff like NASCAR.
Yeah, like like the silly stuff, yeah. I mean, it's good to have like once in a while, but with anything, there's always like a point where it becomes too much. So,
Yeah,
like it's good to have it spread out, but not like almost every single time. But
yeah, something like
I
that.
think I think the silly stuff isn't really a full problem. I think the kid stuff is like the main issue. I remember uh my dad and I went to me, my dad, and my friend went to Monster Jam at MetLife. Dad thought there wasn't really enough stuff for the main crowd. There was too much kid stuff, and then I kind of heard the same thing when I went to Newark again with my sister and her boyfriend. So yeah, they need to find like that, you know, way to
Something
get
in
it fixed.
between.
They need to make it a little bit more sporty, but not have too much kid stuff to the point where you're looking like Hot Wheels.
Yeah, this isn't Hot Wheels. This is Monster Jam.
And
And
I see why they're kind of trying to do that. It's because they're trying to compete with Hot Wheels by literally beating them at their own game. And to
yeah,
that I say, why and don't do that. You're making yourselves look worse.
it's much better to go the sport route because that puts a lot of eyes on you more, I believe. I don't know much about business, but I feel like that's a better business decision. It's good to appeal to kids every once in a while, but not completely. That's how you piss off the diehard fans, kind of like me, because I didn't even bother like looking into like the game show or like baby pictures. I'm pretty sure you did the same.
Yeah, with the game show, I looked into it out of curiosity and it was okay. I mean, you got to see the drivers act naturally and not scripted, which is fine. But again, they could have done that if it was just like a standalone video and not the kickoff itself. But then with the baby picture thing, I saw it and I didn't even participate. I just thought, really? That's the kickoff you're going to do this year?
It's getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's
Um
ridiculous.
yeah. So yeah, and obviously a lot of people I've seen I don't know if anybody said this, but I've seen of course a lot of these comments of like, oh, crush cars to come back. Obviously that's something fun. Or like the REI should get less restricted, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the main thing we should focus on first is the feel of the shows and just the way how it's presented. I think that's the first thing we need to focus before we go in any other direction. Because I think that's more
Yeah.
important because that's like the first thing everybody sees.
Yeah, like the presentation of the shows, which I do believe is perfected kind of without all the kid stuff. 'Cause at the end of the day, it still releases a good product to me, but definitely less than the kid stuff. And about the Crush Cars, unless it's the World Finals, Superstar Challenge, or an actual big venue, they're not coming back.
Yeah.
They are
Like,
definitely not.
yeah. Um, yeah, like when I see those comments again, it's like this might sound controversial. Like I see those comments, but again, it's like it's been how long now? Like when are you gonna give that up? But
2019, I believe. Yeah, 2019.
yeah, it's been a while now. But yeah, again, the feel of the sport is like the most important thing. Cause like if you appeal it to like a sport, people will look at you watching Monster Jam. It's like, okay, he's interested to that. But like obviously let's make an example with Hot Wheels. So you're looking at Hot Wheels Monsters Live, like, and you're older and you're like a big fan of Hot Wheels Monsters Live. Some people will look at you and be like, ew, that's for kids, you know? So
Yeah,
that's kind of what I'm getting with the feel. The feel is the most important thing, and I'm hoping people will listen to this. And again, it's not bashing for the sake of bashing. It's healthy criticism. I like to do it constructively, and I don't want to like just bash and just say bullshit just to try to get people's attention. I like to be
yeah,
honest, and that's my main point of the podcast, not just to go over what the info is and like who won what and going over the stats or doing interviews with local people or fans or whatnot or industry folk. But it's also to be honest. Like I don't like to sugarcoat or be like scripted. I'd rather just be just honest and like speak from the heart. And that's kind of what I'm doing with the Monster Jam stuff and with the stuff that I'm critiquing. I'm doing it because I want to see Monster Jam in the best light possible because I've grown up with it since when I was like 2 or 3 years old, since like 2005.
yeah. We
So
really care about the
yeah,
sport.
yeah, so I want Monster Jam to be the best it's ever been, and at some point I want to get a job with them. So ah, also,
Oh,
sorry about that. The internet connection just messed up. We're gonna keep it in the podcast. Why not? Screw you, Optimum. Um, but
your internet.
yeah. So pretty much to sum it up, I'm just trying to be fair with everything, and I want to see Monster Jam in the best light possible for years to come and have them grow and succeed in a proper way. And I think that would be fantastic if they went for a professional route. And if they want to have some kid stuff on the side, then sure. But the professional stuff should come first. There we
Yeah,
go. Now I can do it without Optimum breaking my internet. Damn it, man! It happened twice. The reason why in the Jackson Morris interview, I was editing and I forgot to add my part because during that clip, the internet went out again, and yeah. So if you hear Jackson start talking after I'm like ready go, it's because it's a completely different clip and my Wi-Fi went out. So oh my god, it's
funny moment.
that, but also a Discord issue. It's both. It's it's stupid. Um.
Makes the
Oh boy.
podcast more interesting.
All right. This episode of TF Motorsports Podcast is brought to you in part by Poor Wi-Fi. For a limited time only, 50% off. Uh. Anyway, so that's pretty much all we're talking about. Um. Pretty
Thanks for
odd way to
having
end
me.
it off, but what can you do? So
End it
Douglas,
off
what is
with
your
our no
final
issues.
thoughts on the 2025 schedule?
Okay. Sorry for laughing at
You're fine.
that. But yeah, overall, just to sum up my thoughts in like one or two sentences, add more stops, hopefully. Uh, I hope there's new trucks because I love to see that every year. Uh, and also, please add Houston. I want to see more stuff in Houston. What do you think, though?
All right. Well, first of all, we're praying for you with your Texas stops.
Hopefully,
Second of all,
pray for me.
I think the lineups are fantastic. They're stacked. The only critique I got is Stadium East. I think they should have had Weston in one of those tours because again, he's dominated throughout the three arena appearances that he's did throughout those three series, and he won all three. So I think he should, after this season, move over with Tyler Menega, like have them compete, and then have Weston drive either the Legend or Bog Hog and have them on their own tour. But other than that, all the stadium series are very exciting, and I get to see Tyler Menega at MetLife in May. Awesome.
You're lucky.
But yeah, just each lineup has something special about them that really makes me excited that we get to see these lineups all in action on the YouTube page. And again, the live streams are a fantastic thing that Monster Jam did. And I'm
Best
super
decision
glad that we
ever.
get to watch these week in and week out coming up next year. And yeah, it'll be fun to watch. Doesn't matter where you turn, it's going to be close points battles, and it'll just be fun from top to bottom.
And mostly like underdogs, probably like actually being able to compete with like Gravedigger, like John Zimmer Jr. and maybe the Robins. They can actually like compete with the top dogs.
Yeah. And then especially the Arena Central series. That's my favorite Arena series out of the three. It's just stacked. You got a great variety. You have new drivers, returning drivers, old drivers, a familiar face with a new truck, and you have somebody going from international to the United States. That tour is really, really fun to look at, especially. And then Stadium West is my favorite because you have all that variety of drivers, and you got big heavy hitters like Adam Anderson, Caleb Blood, Tristan England, Ryan Anderson, just to name a few. They're going to be battling for points week in and week out. Like, it's not going to be
Definitely.
easy for them.
Yeah, my favorites are also like Central, Arena Series Central, and also like what's it called? Stadium Series East. There we go. I remembered. Because like you said, there's gonna be close points battles from what I can see. And usually I don't pay attention to arenas, but usually I pay attention to this stuff that like is actually interesting. And Central, I'm definitely keeping an eye on.
All right, so that is going to do it for the TF Motorsports podcast for tonight. Again, there might be some episodes throughout the fall and into the winter. I might talk about some stuff on here if there's something big in the Monster Jam news or Monster Truck news, or if I get somebody on the podcast for an interview, you might see some of that. But then, of course, the weekly episodes return once the first weekend of Monster Jam is done. Whether it's me solo doing this or if I'm going to have one of my buddies on here, whether it's Douglas here or if we have Hayden Altman or Omar, we'll be going ahead and we'll be talking about the Monster Jam Stadium and Arena series all in one place. One last thing about the future of the podcast. We're just going to be strictly going over the Monster Jam points and the monster truck industry. I tried to do that with also NASCAR and Supercross, but a combination of things that I don't know about them, as well as everything being stacked, it just got stressful, and I got burnt out from it. So we're just going to be talking about Monster Jam's point series as the main tagline. But again, we could also talking about the news regarding independent tours or Hot Wheels, or we could also go ahead and talk about big news of Monster Jam as well. And of course, no sugar coated. It is strictly from the heart, and
Yeah.
it is honest, and it'll be a really good season coming up. Douglas, So it was awesome having you here today for the for going over the supposed kickoff.
Thank you so much for having me. I actually had quite a lot of fun talking to you. Thank you.
And no problem, man.
Thank
And we're excited for the 2025 Monster Jam season. Let us know down in the comments down below what you think of the 2025 lineup that they have announced and what they should do for the future moving forward, whether it's this year or next year or so on. Take care, guys. And we'll see you next time on TF
take care.
Motorsports and on the podcast. And be sure to check out the Discord as well in the description down below. Take care.
Thank you so much.